All right, real quick, we're gonna talk about the top divorce settlements ever. But real quick, I'm gonna just go through the two highest. The first highest is Robert and Ann Murdoch. When they split, she got 170 billion. They split up in '99. They were together for 30 years. The number two divorce settlement was Craig and Wendy McCall, whatever. When they split up, they made some gadget that AT&T bought for like 11 billion, and a year later they got divorced, and she got 460 million. And then the third will be the most recent one that happened in 2002. Will be Bob Jonson and his wife Sheila Johnson, and when they split, she got 400 million. We're gonna talk about that one. I actually didn't know about those other ones. I thought that like Paul McCartney and Johnny Carson were like the top ones before, but I guess those two people previously, 107 billion, and the other one was 460 million, a little over $500 million. But I'm gonna talk about Bob Johnson, Steve Johnson for a reason. There was an article that was posted in this group, and they were talking about how Sheila Johnson is going on her rampages, talking about how horrible BET is, which I agree it is trash. But I guess people thought that she was going around doing that because it was sold to Viacom, and that's not the case. She's always been, trashing her ex-husband as well and blaming him for some of the conditions in the black community with the music and the garbage that was played on the TV show. But that's my point for even addressing it was the fact that some people thought that it was only because BET is not owned by black people; it's owned by a white company now, Viacom. And she thought people were assuming that she was just now going on a rants or whatever, but that's not the case. She's always been doing these articles and interviews where she's trashed her husband and the network, right? But this is the crazy thing. It gets better, right? So just throughout conversations too, having it. I think I brought this up a few years in a different post, and I was pointing out how Bob Johnson, first black billionaire in America, within 3 years of making that, within 2 years actually, because they were married for 30-something years, and then 2 years before their divorce, which it takes time to finally get divorced, she filed for divorce. And what that says to me is like, a woman, they say when they're ending a marriage, they checked out emotionally already previously. That's why they don't go through that phase that men do, because it happens abruptly for them, and they weren't disconnected yet. Where women, they've been gone, they've been checked out. So she pretty much knew she was going to divorce him before she divorced him, but she waited until that deal was done, obviously. And some women were trying to say, well, she left him because he was cheating and yada yada. I'm like, well, if they've been together 30 years, he's probably been cheating on her the entire marriage, right? Like, come on now, like that. You wait 30 years, 2 years specifically before a deal gets done that would land you a $500 million. I'm not buying that. She waited for him to get that deal sold with Viacom before the divorce was finalized. That's just, it's common sense, but that's what she did. Now, the problem with that is that she does criticize BET and everything that happened with the network, and she blames her husband and whatnot for what's going on. Now, I will say other women wanted to argue too that, she's entitled to half the money because she did, invest in the company as well. I think she contributed a large portion of the money what got him started, even though he made it a $3 billion company. Him and I think Kathy Hughes was his partner. They had other investors in it too, but like him and her, Kathy Hughes, made BT what it was, right? They made that worth $3 billion. So you can say that she contribute what she did shooting with him when he was in the gym. I don't know, possibly as in the secretary thing, and I was making things easier for him there, though. Whatever, you can say that, but still, he made the company worth what it was. So that's why some of them were saying that, well, she deserves the money because of that. But that's kind of makes her a hypocrite, though, because if she did give him the money and she did help it grow, if she wants to go with that narrative, then she's as much as to blame for the destruction she claims that BET has caused, which I agree. I think BET's trash. That watching years ago. But that's just one of the narratives right there. Is that how could she criticize the company that she helped invest in, supposedly. Not only that, but in the divorce settlement, she got half the money that came from that. So if you were truly disgusted at BET and how horrible it is, why would you take money from that came from that situation? So that makes her look bad on her part, even though she's going around with her, BET the devil rampages and articles or whatever. For a moment there's like that imagery of equality though for a minute, because you think about it. The first two top divorces are white couples. The next two are black couples. It's Jordan and Bob Jonson. And then like the third is Tiger Woods, who's a half-breed, Mongol, a mutt, whatever. But you have, two black men, two white men, and a mixed person, all men who all lost, combined, billions of dollars in divorce settlements, right? That's a segment, I guess you say, of equality where you can have that in America. This is the icer to the cake right here. Like, this is the thing that makes you go, Apparently it's all legal and all fine and dandy, but it's still suspect to me. So that is Mr. Sir Newman Jr. William, I think. And that is Miss ex Bob Johnson's wife, new wife, right? I mean, they're married now. So what happened was the day that they went to court to finalize the divorce, apparently the first judge had an issue. The second judge was somewhere else doing something else. So this guy comes in. Yes, she married the judge that finalized the settlement, which she received for $100 million. Now, apparently, the article says that everything's already set in stone. It's just the other two judges who were supposed to be there couldn't be there, and all he had to do was just finalize it, hit the hammer, say, this is the settlement, be gone. But apparently, after, she got her $400 million confirmed, she walks up and asks if she approached the bench, and she asked the judge, did he remember her? And he was like, yeah. Apparently, they knew each other from like 33 years ago, prior to her marrying Bob, and they acted together on scene or whatever. But, and then boom, they started dating after that, and they got married like within a few years out, not even a few years, like, like a year or so after the situation happened. But that's still crazy as hell, yo. The judge who, finalizes your divorce, gives you, your $400 million. You start dating him right after that. No matter how legal it may be or no conflict of interest, it still sounds suspect as hell. But anyway, that was the kicker, is that she ended up marrying a judge that, finalized the divorce. He wasn't supposed to be there. Two other judges were supposed to be there before him, but he was the one that finalized it. She got paid. The divorce was over, ended or whatever, and they got married. Crazy.